We'll be starting the scripting classes today. How to use JavaScript. Anybody who is taking a repetition class in this, who has done taking repetition, there's some opening for 3 years of experience. Okay. If anybody is taking a repetition class who has already done taking the repetition, those people can meet me after the class. They're having 3 years of putting 3 years of experience. People who already done take a repetition for those people. Okay. Now let us come back. We are trying to understand how to use JavaScript within the Visualforce page. Right. Look at this structure. The point here is why you want to go for JavaScript. Why you want to go for JavaScript? Why you want to go for JavaScript? If you want to make any client-side operations, then we go for JavaScript. Why you want to go for a client-side operation? The question is, why you want to go for a client-side operation? The point here is, boss, if you are making every requirement, if you are making interaction to the server for every action, then it takes more load on the server. Let us say you have some questions to be asked. You are in the class, I am also in the class. You ask a question, I will give a reply. No, I was in the main building, you are in the classroom, you are in this building. Now you want to ask a question, you are coming to the main building, coming to my cabin, asking a question, coming back to the classroom. Second guy coming to the main building, asking a question, coming back to the classroom. In both the cases, your question is answered. But which is the best way? In the classroom. Why? Because I am here, you are also here. The interaction will be faster, response will be faster. Otherwise, you have to come to the main building, ask me the question, get your reply. It takes more time. Am I right or not? Right? The same story happens in the application also. If you want anything, you are coming to the server is processing, coming back. Instead of this, what all the things that you can handle on the client side, if you can handle, performance of the page will improve. What all the things that you want to? Now, what are the things that you want to? What are the things you want to handle at the client side? What are the things that you want to handle at the client side? If you handle it, the performance will improve. What all the things that you can handle at the client side, if you can handle, the performance will improve. What all the things that you want to handle at the client side, if you can handle it, the performance will improve. So we are making client side interaction. If you want to perform anything on the client side, then you go for a script. The script is used to perform the client-side operation. Whenever any browser event occurs, then we go for some action. that is defined using a JavaScript. Browser event means on click, on focus, on double click, on change, on mouse over, on mouse out. This is on the browser if any event occurs. On click, on focus, on blur, on change. This type of event occurs. You want to perform some action. Those actions are defined by using JavaScript. Those actions are defined by using JavaScript. I hope you're good with this. Any browser event occurs. If you want to perform any action, then we go for JavaScript. Now, any JavaScript code that we want to write, any JavaScript code that you want to write, that should be defined within the script. If you want to write any scripting code, that should be defined within the script tag. Any scripting you want to write, that should be defined within the script tag. By default, if you don't mention, it's a JavaScript. Okay. Then, how do you write the program? Generally, if you want to learn any Apex programming, what we have done, we have seen about variables, data types, then statements, then we have seen about functions, then we have seen about classes. Am I right? In the same way, when you want to see, in the same way, when you are making a request, in the same way, when you are making a request to learn a JavaScript, you are supposed to start with variables. Now, here in the JavaScript, every variable is defined as var. No specific data type. No specific data type. We define here as var. Var name, var age, var salary, var account, var flag. All the variables in the JavaScript, are defined using a var. Variable is name, data type is var. Variable is name, data type is var. Variable is name, data type is var. Are you clear about this? Right. Var variable name. Are you clear? All the variables in the JavaScript are defined as var. All the variables in the JavaScript are defined with var. Right. Come back to this point. Var name equal to Satish. Everything is defined as var. Are you clear about this point here? Every variable in the JavaScript is mentioned as var. Okay. Next point. The second point, what we want to do is, if you want to test it, now what we are doing for the Apex programming, if you want to go for unit testing, I give system dot. Am I right? Apex class, you want to debug it. System dot debug. Similarly, in the JavaScript, if you want to test it, we give console dot log. Save it. Preview. Then give a right click. What we have? Inspect. What we are finding here? Console. Here the message will be. Let me give you. Console.log. Review. Now, here the message is supposed to be printed. I did a function there. Look at the point. What we're getting here? Testing. You're getting a message here. This is like system.debug what you write in. Your Apex programming. What is that system.debug? Print the message in the log file. That is used for unit testing. Now, whether logic is running properly or not, I will print and see. Similarly, in the JavaScript, if you want to see whether operation is happening properly or not, we need to go for unit testing. How do you do it? Console.log. So where is the data type? Where variable name equal to value. If you want to debug, console.log. I hope you are good with this. Okay. I hope you are good with this. Okay. Now, how the JavaScript will be defined? Any JavaScript will be defined within the script tag. Okay. Now, boss, I don't want the script to run when the page loads. I want the action to be performed when I click on a button. I want the action to be performed when I move the mouse. I want the action to be performed when I double click the button. So in that case, what I will do, I will go for events. Now I will go for functions. How you define function in the JavaScript? Function in the JavaScript will be defined like function, function name, function name, function name, parameters. Let us see. Function. Call me. Function, invoke. Now why I'm not giving? Now why are not giving? Why are not giving this? Now here it is a var. Here it is a var. Now every variable is a var only. Then no need of mentioning var. Straight away we can give variable. I hope you're good. Function show name comma age. Function show name comma age. This is how we are giving. Now, if you want to give return type, this is how I am giving it. I hope you are good with this functionality. Function name, parameter, return type. Function name, parameter, return type. I hope you are good with this. Clear? Okay. Now let us see the next quick format. Have you defined here? Have you defined a function? Function. Console.log. Without parameter. Function call me. Console.log. Call me. Okay. I gave two things here. Now function show. Function call me with parameter. Now how the function will be called? Function will be called when the event occurs. Apex command. Or click. Give apex command button value equal to user dot. Then similarly, I'm giving already Apex class is there with a name called control equal to example. Then I'm giving call me. What was that? I'm calling. Call me. So here I'm giving global data. Here I'm giving variable from Apex class. Here I'm giving variable from Apex class. Here I'm calling a global data. Here I'm giving a static data. Straight away value I gave. Here the global data I gave. Here I gave. Right? So go to the preview. Submit. Because I gave on click. You are getting the message, immediately it is lost, right? Why? On click, action, on close. On click, action, on complete. After on click, action will be performed. Then on complete will run. So you want the message to be staying there. Instead of giving on click, what you are supposed to give? On. I am sure with why? On complete is the final action. So the data previous action is not lost. I am sure with a parameter. Call me with the name Satish. Call me with the name global data Satish. Apex class. Call me with the Ravi Mohan. So we are testing it. Console.log is what? Testing. So how the action is invoked? How the JavaScript function is invoked? JavaScript function is invoked when an event occurs on the element. Whenever the event occurs on the element, we are calling a JavaScript. The JavaScript is going to perform an action. Whenever an event occurs on the element, it is going to call JavaScript. Are you getting my point? When the event occurs, we are calling JavaScript function. When the event occurs, we are calling JavaScript function. When the event occurs, we are calling JavaScript function. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? So, function name. Console. Function name with parameter. Function name with parameter. I hope you are good. Clear for everyone? Okay. Next, the point here is how do you refer to the data which is there in the Visual Force page? Using JavaScript, how do you refer to the data? Listen carefully. This is a main example. In the JavaScript, elements are referred using ID. Try to understand this. Page block section item. Your name, so look at this. What did I create? A simple page block with a page block section item. Enter name, your name, print name. Here, instead of input text, I'll take output text. What is my requirement? A simple page block with a page block section item. Enter name, whatever the name you entered here, I want to print here, and I want to print here. It is a simple page block with a page block section with a page block section item. Okay. What was my requirement? My requirement is if I give Satish, then automatically this data should be displayed here. So how to read the data? What I entered in this box? How to read the data? What I entered in this box? So look at the point. Listen carefully. Input text on change. What does it mean? Whenever the value of the name is changing, it is calling a JavaScript call. Then look at the function. How are you referring to this? Where name equal to document dot get element E capital, B capital, I capital. Document dot get element by ID. Now where is the element? In the page we have form. In the form we have page block, ID of the page, ID of the form, ID of the page block, ID of the page block section, page block section item 1 colon. What did I give? I gave complete path, right? In the page we have a form. In the form we have a page block. In the page block we have a page block section. In the page block section I have a page block section item. In the page block section item I have a name. Okay. In the page block section item I have a name. Complete path I give. Dot. In the page we have a form. In the form I have a page block section. In the page block section item. In the section item. This value I want to put where you want to put? Document dot get page form page block section item 2 colon dot value equal to what did I give? Whatever the name you got on the above step, that name we are assigning to the element. Page, form, page block section, item 2. Here I want to display page block section item 2, page block section item 2 equal to this. Then next one. Is it input text box or output? Output. If it is output, again the same story. How? Page, form, page block section. See, then we have ID. What is ID? RES. Inner, because I want to print like output, it is the inner HTML. Or else I will give bold, sorry, inner HTML. If it is a input, dot value. If it is output, dot inner HTML. So go to the preview. When the change occurs, the same thing we can also give here. I enter the type, okay, key up. Press the key. When you release, automatically update it. There, in the previous example, when I move the cursor out of this box, I'm getting it. But here, when I'm typing, automatically we are parallelly getting the message there on key up. Are you clear about this? Am I clear with this? Right? So, whenever the change occurs here, automatically we are going. When an event call on change, when an event call on key up, when the event call on key down, we want the JavaScript to be called. What the JavaScript is doing, it is reading the value. How it is reading? Document dot get element by ID. The complete path I have given. Page, form, page block section, everything I have given. I hope you got my point. Is that was clear for everyone? Clear for everyone? Am I clear? So, let us do an example. Look at this. I have a page. In the page, I have a page block. In the page block, I have a page block section. When I enter the data, automatically should be updated at the bottom. How this is possible? Now I have ID of the page. Then in the page we have, because I have input text box, we are supposed to have. In the form we have page block. In the page block we have page block section. Page block section. In the page block section we have page block section 8. Page block section item. In the page block section item, we have so we have a page. In the page we have a form. In the form we have a page block. In the page block section item. In the item we have a name. In the item we have a name. We have a age. People have done this. No. So let me start designing this. First, people create a JavaScript. It's more than sufficient. Don't write entire code. Create the JavaScript functionality. Create the JavaScript functionality. It's sufficient. Create the JavaScript functionality is more than sufficient. How you define JavaScript? Now you want to read the value. Tell me, how do you read the value? Where? Page, form, page block section item 1. Document dot get element by ID. Document dot get element by ID. Page, form, page block section item name. Page, form, page block section item name dot value. Then similarly age. Page, form, page block section item 1. Then you want to print it. How do you print it? Document dot get element by ID. Page, form, page block section 2. Now it is displayed in the second section. Because we had another section. This is section 1. This is section 2. Page block sections are here. This is section 1. This is section 2. This is how we created. Read the value based on the ID and set the value. Read the value based on the ID, set the value. Read the value based on the ID, set the value. Read the value based on the ID, set the value. Read the value based on the ID, set the value. Are you clear about this? Okay. Now, every time giving such a lengthy name, complete path is difficult for me. I cannot every time give. Say only 10 lines or 20 lines you are able to give. Suppose if you say 500 lines of page, will you give complete path? It will be difficult. Then how do you do that? So look at the example. Every time I cannot give a lengthy names. The complete path I cannot give it. Then how will you give it? Look at the point. ID equal to page. First I'll create the UI, then I'll explain the JavaScript. First I'll create the UI form. A block section. Then I give then I was giving here Apex first. I'll show the output screen, then we'll discuss about the scripting. Now look at this output first. There is some bug here. What was the bug? Duplicate, error 1, error 2. This is what I got. Now the point is, when I click on the submit, if the name is not entered, here we will get a message. Enter the name first. If the city is not entered, here I have to get a message. Enter the city. Are you getting my point here? If name is not entered, I have to get an error message. Enter the name. City is not entered. Get the message. Enter the city. That's what I want to get. Now, every time I'm writing a script outside. Now what I'm doing, I'm writing the script inside the page block section. Function. I can write the script wherever I want. I can write the script wherever I want. Here I'm writing function. So what I was doing, var name equal to document dot by ID dollar component dot. Now from my location, what are the elements we have? Page block section. Page block section item 1 dot what I was doing, the location where I am, from that location I am giving the remaining path. The location where I am, from that location I am giving the remaining path. Now from here, what is the path we have? Page block section, section item. Now let us see. Dollar component dot the path of the remaining copies is a dot. Right? Are you getting my point there? So instead of giving the complete path, now if I write the script here, suppose I wrote the script here, within the page block section, if I write, now instead of giving the complete path, I can put the script in the middle of the code. From there, I can refer to the elements. Right. Page blocks component, page block 6 item 1 dot. Now, what is the issue? If I write within the page block section, this is considered as one element. Okay. Are you getting my point here? Right. So, from wherever I am putting, from there, remaining path if you give it sufficient. Right? How do you are referring? Document dot get element by ID dollar component dot remaining path. There I used to give colon, page block colon like that. Here we give dot component dot remaining path. Are you getting my point? Component dot remaining path. So I took the name equal to blank. Document dot ID. You put it dollar dot component dot page block section dot error 1. Else means name is not blank. If name is not blank, similarly, we need to check for city. How do you give city? Where city equal to document dot get element by ID component dot page block section dot item 2 dot city component dot page block section item 2 dot city dot value. Now I'm giving if city equal to blank, then give error message to enter. Did you get my context? If read the value of city, page block section dot page block section item 2 dot city, read the value of city. If city is blank, throw error message. City is not blank, then leave it as a blank. Now, why I took if else? Sometime name may be entered. Okay, look at the point here. Now, later on, when I enter the city, I should not have that message. That message should be lost. When I enter that value, click on that message should be lost. If I don't write else, message still will be there. That's why I took if else. If city is there, okay, then remove the error. Not there, put the error. Are you getting my point? Am I clear? So I'm applying what? Validation rules. How did he refer? Component dot page block section dot error 1. Component dot page block section dot error 2. Are you getting? Instead of giving the complete path, we can also give this particular path. Instead of giving the complete path, we can define this particular path. Instead of giving the complete path, we can define this particular path. I hope you are good. I hope you are good with this. People are clear? Referring to the values from the element and we are processing it. Referring to the elements of the visual force and we are processing it. I hope you are done. Clear? Okay. Now, till now we have done with a single input text field. What if you have a group of input text fields? Like I got a page block table. The page block table, what happened? In the page block table, what happened? We are going to get a list of records. We are going to get a list of records. In that case, how do you refer? If I have a list of records, how do you refer to a particular record? First, let me create the UI, then I'll explain the scenario. This is clear for everyone? Everyone has followed this? Everyone followed? Component dot the remaining path of the element. Component dot remaining path of the element. Now, try to understand the next requirement. First, I will design the UI. Try to understand the UI first. Now I have a wrapper class. This is very frequently used requirement. Very frequently used requirement. Wherever we go with invoices, wherever we go with orders, wherever we go with the contract, this is a very regularly used use case. Try to get the point. I have public list of product list of product wrapper. Public. Right. What I was doing, public void wrapper. Now, when I say product wrapper, what you are doing? Adding a new product wrapper to the list. Then I call here add. So how many times we are calling the product wrapper? 3. So initially how many records are there? 3 records are there. Initially how many records are there? 3 records are there. Okay. Now let us go back to this. Listen, observe carefully, boss. Look at the UI part first. Product lines. Page block value equal to Do you remember this? Fine. Let me make it straight away to the point. Input text ID equal to name, value equal to product name, quantity, price, total. So let us see the UI. It's simply a page block. Then here we need to give product name, now we had price. It's not a price, it's amount. Right. Have a preview. This is what we got. Now the point is, I give quantity 10. When I give price 500, automatically the total should be calculated and printed here. When I enter the quantity, when I modify the quantity or price, automatically it should calculate the value of total. Now, if it has to calculate it, how does it identify this row? Now, if it has to calculate in this row quantity, in this row price, in this row quantity, in this row price. Are you getting my point? How does it identify the particular price, that particular quantity? If it is only one input text, page dot, page block section dot, particular element. But it's a group of rows. In the particular rows, I want to identify the second row quantity. I want to identify third row price. How do you identify particular row, particular element? Are you getting my point? How do you identify particular row, particular element? So we need to have the question here. Here the question is on change. What I'm giving? So this dot, I'm showing this dot ID. Whichever the element I clicked, that particular element ID I am going to get. Whichever the element I clicked, that particular element ID we are taking. Whichever the element I clicked, that particular element ID we are taking. So look at the function. Listen carefully, boss. It's very important. Script. Function. First, let us see what is the ID we are getting. Or else I'll give console.log. Right. Quantity change. When the change happened, what is the ID we received? First row I clicked. When I clicked on the first row, Second row I clicked. What is the ID we received? Third row I clicked. So when you click on the row, particular element, in the first row, what did you get? Page, form, page block table, row number, page, form, page block table, row number. If you can get this value, you know which row is this, right? The row number is printed. If you can get that row number, if you can get it, we know on which row we are working. So how do you do that? Split this. Now how these elements are? Elements are separated by colon, right? So I told my id dot split. When you split based on colon, you're going to get a page, form, page block table, 0, page, form, page block table, 0, 1. Page, form, page block table, 0, 1. Now we are splitting it. If we split it, the row number is at which position? 0, 1, 2, 3. Now at the fourth position we have row number. You split it, at the fourth position we have row number. So let us see this example. My row, split, then give alert. The row ID at which position? At the fourth position we have the split the data, split the ID based on the colon. At the fourth position we have row ID. Go back to this. Row number 0, row number 2. Are you getting my point? So it is giving you what? Row number. If you know the row number 1, quantity, row number 1, price, row number 1, total. Are you getting? If you know the row number, that row number, quantity, that row number, price, that row number, total. I hope you are good with this. Now let us see how you do that. Where amount equal to document dot get element, page, form, page block table plus row number, where font equal to document dot get element ID, page, form, page block table plus row ID plus colon quant. Then what we are doing? Where total equal to parse int of amount, because it is going to take like a string. It is going to take like a string. From JavaScript, if you read it, it will take the value like a string. So convert them into integer. Parse int, convert the value in the form of integer. Then I'm giving document dot get page, form, page block table plus what I'm doing, first identify the row number, then read that row price, that row quantity, then calculate the total. That row price, that row total, calculate that row price, that row quantity, calculate the total, set the value of total. Are you getting my point? If you know the row number, that row quantity, that row price, the row quantity, that row price, calculate the total and print it. Now here I give this. Now come back to the execution part. Are you getting my point here? Is that was clear? So I hope you're good. So we are identifying the row. How are you identifying? If you pass the ID of the element, if you know the ID of the element, then find out where is that row number. Split the ID and get that row number. If you know the row number, it is easy for us to identify the values of the row. I hope you got my point. You have got my point here. Is it was clear? But I want to give one extra condition. What is that extra condition? Look at the point. I want to give an extra condition. Apex column commanding then again I want to give NBSP first. Let us see the UI part, then you understand what is my intention. Add, delete. When I click on add, one more row should be added. Right now, what is happening? Look at this test. Add. Where is the new row added? At the end. I don't want to add it at the end. If I click on add, below that it should add. When I click on add, it is adding at the end. I don't want it to be added at the end. When I click on add, that should be added just below this. When I click on delete, that row should be deleted. Are you getting my point? When I click on add, one more row should be added below this. When I click on delete, a row should be deleted. Now the question is, how do you pass the row number to Apex class? If you want to delete, we have to say remove index. If you want to add an element at a particular position, add index comma element. So how do you pass that index value from JavaScript to Apex class? Did you get my point? In the list, if you want to add an element at a particular position, list dot add index comma element. So you have to mention that index value. If you want to remove an element from the list, then list dot remove index. List dot remove index. We have to mention list dot remove index. So the question is, how do you pass the IDs? Look at the point here. First, I'll write the Apex code. Probably you'll understand the code. Public. Then I give here. If first find out the size. TZ size. How many elements are there? If row number greater than or equal to size. Row number is greater than or equal to size. What does it mean? You are at the last position. The row where you click the add is you are in the last position. Then automatically where should I add? If you are already on the last row, where should I add? In the last position I have to add. Am I right or wrong? Look at this, boss. Now else add. Let's dot add row number plus 1 comma. So I told add, when you say add, automatically it is added at the last position. Now you want to add at a particular position, row number plus 1 comma p. Okay. Now how do you pass the row number? How do you pass the row number? How do you pass the row number? So look at this. Now, if I click on add here, already you are in the last row. How many elements are there? 4 elements. What is the row number? 3. What is the row number? 3. Row number is 3. Row number is 3. When row number is 3, what does it mean? You are already in the last position. You are already in the last position. You are already in the last position. If you are already in the last position, what should I do? Add at the last position. If the row number is greater than or equal to size minus 1, row number is greater than or equal to size minus 1. How many records are here? 4. Size equal to what? 4. What is the add? Row number is what? 3. 3 greater than or equal to, okay, size minus 1. 3 greater than or equal to 3. You are in the last position. When I click on add, new row should be added at the last position. Am I right or wrong? If it is last, it should be added at the last position. If I click here, row should not be added at the last position. Row should be added at which position? Okay, row number is 0. So new element should be added at index 1. Row number should be added at index 1. Row number should be added at index 1. Are you getting my point? If you are already in the last position, okay, add it to the last. If you are in the middle, add to the next position. Right. The question here is, how do you pass the row number? But the question here is, how do you pass the row number? Question here is, how do you pass the row number? Look at the point. So when you get the ID, split the ID. When you get the ID, split the ID. When you split the ID, where is the row number? Row number is at 4th position. So what I'm doing? Document dot get element by ID. Page form HID dot value equal to now. What is the value of this element? What is the value of this element? This element equal to row ID. If row is 2, value is 2. If row is 3, value is 3. Now if I set the value to this element, automatically you are setting the value to this value, right? If you set the value of this variable, if you set the value of this, automatically you are setting the value of row number. So on whichever row I clicked, that row number I am saving in the variable called row number. Go back here. Then I have to say this is what we are taking. Go back to the structure here. Now, to show you the difference, I tell you. Now, I told add. Where is the row added? Just below the. When I say add, last position. Right. When I say below the TCS row, when I say add, below the TCS, we add. Whichever the row we are clicking, below that row we are passing. Why? If the row number is 2, add the element at 3. Row number is 4, add the element at 5. Right? But how are you getting the row number? How are you getting the row number? How are you getting the row number? Look at this. I told myid dot split based on colon. When you split it, you know at which position row number is there. Take that row number, assign it to the variable called. Then why did I take input hidden? Input hidden means that will not be displayed on the page, but that is there on the page. Input hidden means what? It will not be displayed, but it is there on the page. Right? When I assign to this value will be stored to row number. So the row number is assigned to the row number. When you want to delete, how will you delete? Products dot remove products dot remove row number. If we give a row number, that will be deleted. Why was this? Because here delete. Right, boss? Are you getting my point? So generally, when you're making a billing counter, product name, quantity, automatically GST, tax, total amount. Then you want to remove it, delete, that element should be removed from the list. Are you getting my point here? Is that was clear for everyone? Okay. Go through this example. We'll revise this example one more time tomorrow. But just go through the example. This will be very frequently used. Just go through it. I'll explain the same example one more time in the next class. Right? Okay. I'll explain the same example one more time tomorrow.